You should never make important decisions without carefully weighing all the pros and cons first. What if I told you that this weighing process ensures you miss every opportunity that actually matters? This sounds responsible because we're taught that hasty choices lead to costly mistakes and regret. But something's wrong when methodical people stay broke, while impulsive people build fortunes. Everyone knows you should think before you act. You research thoroughly, consult experts, make lists of pros and cons, and sleep on major decisions. Why do the people who follow this advice most carefully seem to miss every opportunity that matters? This sounds like wisdom, because we see stories about people who made quick decisions and lost everything. We're told that patience and careful analysis prevent costly mistakes. But there's something that doesn't fit about why methodical thinkers often watch opportunities go to people who barely seem to consider them. The decision speed trap works by creating artificial delays that ensure opportunities expire before careful thinkers can act. While poor people are trained to overthink and seek permission, wealthy people train rapid pattern recognition and instant execution. If this kind of deliberate opportunity hoarding disguised as prudent advice interests you, subscribe to Prof. Zhang Explained and share this video with someone who's been told they need to think things through more carefully. They need to understand how decision delay mechanisms actually work. The system creates fundamentally different decision-making training depending on your economic background. When we talk about good decision-making, we mean completely different processes for different economic classes. For wealthy people, decision-making training focuses on speed, pattern recognition, and accepting imperfect information. They're taught that perfect information doesn't exist, and that timing matters more than perfection. For poor people, decision-making training emphasizes caution, seeking consensus, and gathering more information. They're taught that hasty decisions are dangerous and that responsible people always research thoroughly. Think about the most successful business deals or investment opportunities you've heard about. How many happened because someone took weeks to decide versus someone who acted within hours? This explains something curious about opportunity distribution. The same advice that sounds responsible and wise often ensures that the people following it never get access to time-sensitive opportunities. The difference isn't about intelligence or analytical ability. It creates systematically different outcomes where decision delay becomes a barrier to advancement rather than protection from risk. But here's where it gets interesting. The decision speed trap doesn't just slow down individual choices. It actually restructures how opportunities get distributed in society. Consider how most valuable opportunities actually work in practice. They have narrow time windows, limited availability, and high competition from other decision makers. Investment opportunities disappear within hours or days. Job openings get filled by the first qualified candidate who responds. Business partnerships go to people who can commit quickly. Real estate deals, startup funding rounds, and high-value contracts all operate on compressed timelines that favor rapid decision makers. Meanwhile, the advice given to regular people assumes that good opportunities wait patiently while you gather information and consult advisors. This creates what economists call temporal arbitrage. Fast decision makers capture opportunities before slow decision makers even finish analyzing them. The speed advantage compounds over time. People who capture more opportunities develop better pattern recognition. Better pattern recognition enables faster future decisions. The temporal advantage also creates what business scholars call opportunity hoarding. Fast decision makers not only capture individual opportunities, but also build relationships that provide access to future opportunities. These relationship networks operate on the assumption that members can make quick commitments. Slow decision makers get excluded from these networks entirely. But the decision speed trap becomes even more sophisticated when we examine how different social classes get trained in decision-making approaches. Wealthy families train children to make quick decisions with limited information. They're taught that perfect decisions don't exist and that execution matters more than analysis. Poor families train children to be careful, to seek advice, to avoid making mistakes. They're taught that one wrong decision can be devastating and that responsible people always proceed cautiously. These training approaches create completely different relationships with uncertainty and time pressure. Wealthy people learn to operate comfortably with incomplete information. They develop tolerance for ambiguity and skill at rapid assessment. Poor people learn that uncertainty is dangerous. They develop habits of extensive research and consensus seeking that consume valuable time. The training difference also affects risk perception. Wealthy people learn that not deciding is often riskier than deciding incorrectly. Poor people learn that wrong decisions are catastrophic. They develop decision paralysis as a protective mechanism. The risk assessment training also creates what economists call opportunity cost blindness. Poor people focus intensively on downside risks while ignoring upside potential. This risk focus ensures that they avoid decisions that might lose money while missing decisions that could make money. Do you notice how investment advice for wealthy people emphasizes acting quickly on market opportunities, while advice for regular people emphasizes careful research and patience? The decision speed trap also exploits what behavioral economists call analysis paralysis amplification. The more options you consider, the harder decision-making becomes. Poor people are encouraged to explore every possible angle, to research exhaustively, to seek multiple opinions before acting. This analysis expansion ensures that by the time they're ready to decide, the opportunity has either disappeared or become less attractive. Meanwhile, wealthy people are trained to narrow options quickly, to identify the key variables that matter and ignore everything else. The option narrowing also creates what cognitive scientists call decision clarity. When you focus on fewer variables, decision-making becomes faster and more confident. The analysis paralysis also creates what psychologists call decision fatigue overflow. When you spend enormous energy on decision analysis, you have less energy for execution. Poor people exhaust themselves analyzing decisions. When they finally decide, they're too tired to execute effectively. Wealthy people preserve energy for execution by minimizing analysis time. They make quick decisions and apply energy to implementation rather than deliberation. The energy allocation difference affects execution quality. Quick deciders often implement better because they have more energy available for execution. But there's something even more insidious about how the decision speed trap affects access to networks and relationships. Most valuable business relationships form through quick mutual decisions to collaborate. Someone proposes a partnership, investment, or project with limited time to consider it. People who can say yes quickly get included in future opportunities. People who need time to think get left out of the network entirely. The networking effect compounds rapidly. Fast decision makers get invited to more opportunities. More opportunities lead to better pattern recognition and faster future decisions. This creates exclusive networks of rapid decision makers who share opportunities among themselves rather than with people who need time to analyze. The relationship speed also affects trust building. Quick decisions signal confidence and commitment. Slow decisions signal uncertainty and weak commitment. Business people prefer partners who can commit quickly because it indicates reliability and reduces their own uncertainty about project timelines. The trust building also creates what sociologists call confidence signaling. Quick decision-making communicates competence and certainty, even when the decision quality is identical. This signaling advantage helps fast decision-makers build reputations for competence independent of their actual decision outcomes. The decision speed trap also creates what economists call opportunity cost invisibility. People focus on the risk of making wrong decisions while ignoring the cost of missing opportunities. Poor people calculate extensively what might go wrong if they decide quickly. They rarely calculate what they're losing by deciding slowly. The missed opportunity cost becomes invisible because you can't measure what you never had access to. Meanwhile, wealthy people are trained to calculate opportunity costs explicitly. They consider what they miss by not acting as carefully as what they risk by acting. This opportunity cost blindness ensures that slow decision makers continue believing their approach is safer while systematically missing wealth-building chances. The cost calculation also affects portfolio thinking. Wealthy people understand that missing good opportunities is more expensive than occasionally making wrong decisions. Poor people focus on avoiding wrong decisions rather than capturing good opportunities. This defensive approach limits upside potential. Can you think of any major financial opportunity that waited patiently while someone spent weeks researching and consulting advisors? The system also exploits what cognitive scientists call perfectionism paralysis. The desire to make perfect decisions prevents making any decisions at all. Poor people are taught that decisions should be optimized thoroughly. Every variable considered, every risk assessed, every outcome modeled. This perfectionist approach assumes that enough analysis can eliminate uncertainty. but uncertainty is inherent in valuable opportunities. The pursuit of perfect decisions ensures that no decisions get made within opportunity windows that actually matter. Meanwhile, wealthy people are taught that good decisions executed quickly beat perfect decisions executed too late. They're trained to optimize for speed rather than perfection, to accept good enough decisions that can be adjusted later rather than perfect decisions that come too late. The perfectionism trap also creates what business scholars call implementation displacement. Time spent perfecting plans is time not spent executing plans. This displacement ensures that perfectionist planners spend disproportionate time on preparation, while quick deciders spend more time on implementation. The execution focus often produces better results because real-world feedback improves decisions faster than theoretical analysis. But perhaps the most sophisticated aspect of the decision speed trap is how it handles the relationship between preparation and execution. Poor people are taught to prepare extensively before acting, to have complete plans, full funding, and guaranteed outcomes before starting anything. This preparation requirement ensures that opportunities disappear during the preparation phase. By the time someone is ready, the opportunity has moved to someone who acted without perfect preparation. Wealthy people are taught to prepare while executing, to start with limited information and figure things out as they go. This execution-first approach allows them to capture opportunities that require immediate action while developing solutions during implementation. The preparation trap also affects what economists call resource allocation efficiency. Time spent preparing is time not spent executing. Poor people allocate disproportionate time to preparation and planning. They spend months preparing for opportunities that may not exist by the time they're ready. Wealthy people allocate minimal time to preparation. They prefer to adjust and improve during execution rather than perfect plans before starting. The resource allocation also affects learning speed. Execution provides faster feedback than preparation. Quick starters learn from real results rather than theoretical projections. This learning advantage compounds over time. People who execute quickly learn faster and make better future decisions. The decision speed trap also exploits temporal discounting differences between economic classes. Poor people heavily discount future opportunities because they need present solutions. This temporal focus makes extensive analysis seem rational. If you need solutions now, it makes sense to carefully evaluate current options. But valuable opportunities often require accepting short-term uncertainty for long-term benefits. The temporal discounting prevents recognizing these trade-offs. Wealthy people are trained to accept short-term uncertainty for long-term advantages. They can afford to make decisions that pay off later rather than immediately. This temporal tolerance allows them to capture opportunities that poor people must reject due to immediate uncertainty. The temporal difference also affects compound advantage recognition. Wealthy people understand that small early advantages compound into large later advantages. Poor people focus on immediate benefits rather than compound effects. This focus limits their ability to recognize valuable long-term opportunities. Have you ever noticed how the best investment opportunities always seem to require quick decisions with incomplete information? The system also creates what sociologists call decision authority distribution. Different people get trained to make different types of decisions. Poor people are trained to make operational decisions. Decisions about how to execute someone else's plan efficiently and safely. Wealthy people are trained to make strategic decisions. Decisions about which opportunities to pursue and which risks to accept. This authority distribution ensures that poor people excel at careful implementation, while wealthy people excel at rapid opportunity capture. The training difference also affects confidence under uncertainty. Poor people learn that uncertainty indicates insufficient preparation. Wealthy people learn that uncertainty indicates opportunity. They develop comfort with ambiguous situations that others avoid. The confidence difference also affects negotiation positioning. People comfortable with uncertainty can take stronger negotiation positions because they're willing to walk away from suboptimal deals. This negotiation advantage compounds across transactions. Better deal terms improve overall portfolio performance over time. But there's yet another dimension that makes a decision speed trap particularly effective at maintaining wealth concentration. The system creates what economists call information arbitrage. Different groups get trained to value different types of information. Poor people are taught to seek public information, expert consensus, and historical data before deciding. This information is widely available but often outdated by the time it's comprehensive. Wealthy people are taught to act on private information, pattern recognition, and forward-looking indicators. This information is often incomplete, but more timely and actionable. The information quality difference means that by the time public information supports a decision, the opportunity has already been captured by people acting on private information. The information timing also creates what economists call analytical lag disadvantage. By the time thorough analysis is complete, market conditions have often changed. This lag ensures that analytical approaches consistently arrive at conclusions after optimal action windows have closed. Consider how the decision speed trap handles the relationship between individual decisions and market dynamics. Most valuable opportunities exist because markets are temporarily inefficient. Someone is selling below value or buying above value due to timing pressures. These inefficiencies get corrected quickly by market participants. The first people to recognize and act on inefficiencies capture the value. People who need time to research and analyze miss the inefficiency window. By the time they're ready to act, market forces have corrected the pricing. The speed requirement ensures that opportunities flow to people who can act quickly rather than people who can analyze thoroughly. The market timing also creates what economists call competitive advantage erosion. Good opportunities attract multiple bidders who drive up prices over time. Early decision makers get better prices and terms. Late decision makers face increased competition and reduced returns. The competitive timing also affects deal structure. Early participants often receive better terms because they reduce seller uncertainty and accelerate transaction completion. This structural advantage compounds over time. Better deal terms improve overall investment performance across multiple transactions. The decision speed trap also exploits what behavioral economists call regret avoidance psychology. People fear making wrong decisions more than they fear missing opportunities. Poor people are taught that wrong decisions are devastating. This creates decision paralysis designed to avoid regret rather than capture value. The regret avoidance ensures that people choose inaction over action even when action has positive expected value. Meanwhile, wealthy people are taught that missed opportunities are more costly than wrong decisions. They're trained to act despite uncertainty. The regret framework also affects portfolio thinking. People focus on avoiding wrong decisions, build conservative portfolios with limited upside potential. People focus on capturing opportunities, build aggressive portfolios with higher expected returns, despite higher volatility. But perhaps the most remarkable aspect of the decision speed trap is how it convinces people that slow decision-making is a virtue, while rapid decision-making appears reckless. The system creates moral frameworks around decision-making speed that favor deliberate processes over rapid execution. Careful thinking gets labeled as responsible, wise, and mature. Quick decisions get labeled as impulsive, risky, and irresponsible. These moral labels prevent people from recognizing that decision speed is often a competitive advantage rather than a character flaw. The moral framework also creates social pressure to conform to deliberate decision-making. People who decide quickly face criticism for being hasty or irresponsible. This social pressure reinforces slow decision-making habits, even when people recognize that speed might be advantageous. The decision speed trap ultimately works because it offers the psychological satisfaction of thoroughness while ensuring that thorough people never access time-sensitive opportunities. But understanding the trap doesn't necessarily mean abandoning all analysis. Rather, it suggests learning to distinguish between decisions that require extensive analysis and decisions that require rapid execution. The trap continues because it serves essential functions for opportunity hoarding while appearing to provide wise guidance about responsible decision-making. Understanding how decision timing affects opportunity access reveals that building wealth might require developing rapid decision-making skills rather than more thorough analytical processes. The decision speed trap demonstrates how economic systems can maintain inequality by teaching different decision-making approaches to different economic classes while presenting these differences as personal choices rather than systematic training. The pattern reveals how modern societies have developed increasingly subtle methods for maintaining wealth concentration while preserving the illusion that everyone has equal access to opportunities if they just make better decisions. This sophisticated mechanism ensures that decision-making advice serves wealth concentration rather than wealth distribution, while maintaining broad social acceptance for approaches that systematically disadvantage careful thinkers. The decision speed differential ultimately functions as a hidden barrier to upward mobility, that appears to reward personal responsibility while actually rewarding inherited cultural training and economic position. Understanding this mechanism reveals how seemingly neutral advice about careful decision-making actually serves to maintain existing wealth hierarchies while appearing to promote individual wisdom and responsibility. Hit subscribe if you want more analysis of how advice that appears to promote careful thinking actually ensures that careful thinkers miss opportunities that build wealth. And share this with someone who's been told they need to research more thoroughly before making major decisions.